He raised his voice with words came driving from his deep chest like winter snow before the wind. Then there known to touch him, and no man further to thought, the further of what he would look like. Priam then caught sight of Ajax and asked, "Who is the great and goodly warrior whose head and shoulders tower above the rest of the Argives?" "That," answered Helen, "is huge Ajax, all of the Athenians, and on the other side of him among the Phaeacians stands Idomeneus, looking like a dog with the captains of the Thracians around him, often in Menelaus received him as a guest in a house and visiting a priest. I see moreover many of the Athenians whose names I could tell you, but these of two whom I know where thine, Castor break her horses, and Pollux the mighty boxer, they are children of my mother, and own brothers to myself. Either they have not left Lacedaemon, or else that they, though they have brought their ships, they will not show themselves in battle for shame and disgrace, and I have brought upon them. She knew not that above the heroes who are already lying under the earth and are men of Lacedaemon. Meanwhile the heralds are bringing the holy oath offerings here to the city, 2 lambs and a goat skin of wine and gifts of earth. Idias brought through mixing bowl and cups of gold. He went up to Priam and said, "Son of Lacedaemon, prince of the Trojans and the Adrians, bid you come down to the plain and swear to us all in covenants. Paris and Menelaus are to fight Helen in single combat, and she and all her wealth may go with him who is the victor. Whoever swear in solemn covenants of peace whereby we all others shall dwell in joy while the Athenians return to Argos, line of the Athenians." The old man trembled as he heard, but bade his followers yoke the horses. They made all haste to do so. He mounted the chariots, gathering the reins in his hand, and Amitor took his seat beside him, and drove through the gate gates on the plain. When they reached the ranks of the Trojans and Athenians, they left the chariots and measured pace, advance, and space between the hosts. Agamemnon and Odysseus both rose to meet them. That attendants brought on the oath offerings, mixed with wine and mixing bowls. They poured water over the hands of the chieftains and the son of Atreus, drew the dagger and hung by his sword, and cut wool for the lambs' heads. And the Myrn servants gave from among the Trojans and 18 princes of the son of Atreus, lifted up his hand in prayer. Father Zeus, he cried, that rules Ida, most glorious in powers, and O son, that seest and givest ear to all things, earth and rivers, and ye whose in the realms below chastise the soul of him that has broken his oath, witness these rights and guard them, that they not be in vain. If Paris kills Menelaus, let him keep Helen and all her wealth, while we sail home with our ships. But if Menelaus kills Paris, let the Trojans give back Helen and all that she has. Let them moreover pay such fines to Athenians as shall be agreed upon in testimony among those that shall be born hereafter. And if Priam and his sons refuse such fine when Paris has fallen, then will I stay here and fight on until I have vast satisfaction. As he spoke, he drew his knife across the throats of the victims, and laid them down gasping and dying upon the ground, for the knife had the rest of them of their strength. Then they poured wine from the mixing bowl into the cups, and prayed to the everlasting gods, saying, Trojans and Athenians among one another, Zeus most great and glorious, and the other everlasting gods, grant the brains of them who shall fall first sin against their oaths, of them and their children may be shed upon the ground, even as this wine, and let their wives become the slaves of strangers. Thus they prayed, but not as yet would Zeus grant them their prayer. Then Priam, descendants of Dardanus, spoke, saying, Hear me, Trojans and Athenians. I will now go back to the wind-beaten city of Ilium. I dare not with my own eyes witness the fight between my son of Menelaus, for Zeus and the other immortals alone know who shall fall. On this laid the 2 lands of his chariot, and took his seat. He gathered the reins in his hand, and Amitor sat beside him. The 2 then went back to Ilium. Hector and Odysseus measured the ground, and cast lots from a helmet to Ron to see who should take him first. Meanwhile, the 2 hosts lifted up their hands, praying, saying, Father Zeus, that rulest from Idia, go most glorious in power, grant that he must first brought about this war between us may die, and enter the house of Hades, while we others remain at peace and abide by our oaths. Great Hector now turned his head aside while he shifted the helmet. The lots of Paris flew out first. The others took their several stations, each by his horses, the place where their arms were lying, while Paris, husband of lovely Helen, put on his goodly armor. First he greaved his legs with greaves of good, making fitted with ankles of clasps of silver. After this he donned the cuirass of his brother Laocoon, and fitted it to his own body, while his helm is silver, studded a sword of bronze about his shoulders, and then his mighty shield. On his comely head he set his helmet, well wrought with a crest of horsehair, that noted menacingly above it, and he grasped a redoubtable spear that suited his hands. In like fashion, Menelaus also put on his armor. When they had thus armed each amid his own people, they strode fierce with aspect in open space, and both Trojans and Athenians were struck with an awe that beheld them. They stood near one another on the measured ground, banishing their spears, each furious against the other. Paris aimed first, and struck around the shield of the son of Atreus, but the spear did not pierce it, for the shield turned its point. Menelaus took aim, praying to Father Zeus as he did so. King Zeus, he said, grant me revenge on Paris, who has won me, subdued him under my hand, that in ages yet to come a man may shrink from doing ill deeds in the house of his host. He poised his spear as he spoke, hurled the shield of Paris, through shielding Pyrrhus at once, and tore the shirt by his flank. Paris swerved aside, and thus saved his life. The son of Atreus drew his sword, and drove the protecting part of his helmet, while the sword shivered in 3 or 4 pieces from his hand, and he cried, looking towards heaven, Father Zeus of all gods, thou art the most despiteful. I made sure of my revenge, but the sword has broken in my hand. My spear has been hurled in vain, and I have not killed him. With this he flew at Paris, cut him by the horsehair plume of his helmet, and began dragging him towards the Athenians. The strap of the helmet that went him to the chin was choking him. Menelaus would have dragged him off to the great glory had not Zeus's daughter Aphrodite been quick to mark and break the strap of the ox hide, so that the empty helmet came away in his hand. This he flung to his comrades among the Athenians, and was again springing upon Paris to run him through with a spear. But Aphrodite snatched him up in a moment, as a god can do, hid him under a cloud of darkness, and conveyed him to his own bedchamber. Then she went to call Helen, and found her on a high tower, with the Trojan women crowding round her. She took the form of an old woman, who used to dress wool for her when she was still in Lacedaemon, and of whom she was very fond. Thus she plucked her by perfume robe, and said, Come hither, Paris, he says you want to go to the house. He is on his bed in his room, radiant, rebuking, and dressed in gorgeous apparel. No one would think he had just come from fighting, but rather that he was going to a dance, or had done dancing, and was sitting down. With these words she moved the heart of Helen to anger. When she marked the beautiful neck of the goddess, her lovely bosom and sparkling eyes, she marveled at her, said, Goddess, why do you thus beguile me? Are you going to send me afield still further to some man whom you have taken up in Iberia? On fair Meonia, Menelaus has just vanquished Paris, and is going to take my hateful self back with him. You are come to here to betray me. Go sit with Paris yourself. Henceforth be goddess no longer. Never let your feet carry you back to Olympus. Worry about him, look after him, till he makes your wife, or for matter of that his slave. But me, I shall not go. I can garnish his bed no longer. I should be a byword among all the women of Troy. Besides, I have trouble on my mind. Aphrodite was very angry, and said, Bold hussy, do not provoke me. If you do, I shall leave you to your fate, and hate you as much as I have loved you. I will stir up fierce hatred between Trojans and Athenians, and you shall come to a bad end. At this Helen was frightened. She wrapped her mantle about her, and went in silence, following the goddess, and unnoticed with the Trojan woman. When they came to the house of Paris, the maidservants set about their work, but Helen went into her own room, sing, and laughter loving goddess took the seat instead of facing Paris. On this Helen, daughter Aegis bearing Zeus, sat down and with eyes askance began to upbraid her husband. So you are come from the fight, said she. Would that you had fallen rather by the hand of that brave man who was my husband. You used to brag that you were no better a man with the hands of a spear than Menelaus. Go then and challenge him again, but I should advise you not to do so, for if you are foolish enough to meet him in single combat, you will soon fall by a spear. And Paris answered, why do you not vex me your reproaches? This time with the help of Athena. Menelaus has vanquished me another time. I may myself be victor, for I too have gods that stand by me. Come, let us lie down together and make friends. Never let me get passionately enamored of you as this moment. Not even when I first carried you off from Academia and sailed away with you. Not even when I conversed with you upon the couch of love in the island of Crimea. So was I so enthralled by the desire of you as now. He had much choice with that, and his wife went with him. Thus they let themselves on bed together with some Euphrates, stirred among them throng, looking elsewhere for Paris, and no man, neither of the Trojans nor of allies, could find him, if they could see him in their mind, to hide him, for they all them hatred him of them hated death itself. And Agamemnon, king of men, spoke, saying, Hear me, Trojans, Barbarians, and allies, the victory has been with Menelaus. Therefore give back Helen, and with all her wealth, and pay such time as shall be agreed upon in testimony among them that shall be born hereafter. Thus spoke the son of Atreus, and shouted in applause.